We also had a super chat over on Streamlabs by Storm the Cat, who throws in $10 and says, do you think modern society and technology affects the way evangelical Protestants interpret the Bible and theology? It is hard to explain, but the way they interpret the Bible seems mechanistic and soulless, whereas Orthodoxy is more in harmony with nature. Well, my immediate response, Storm the Cat, is yeah, I think that evangelical or Protestantism, generally speaking, is informed by Enlightenment values. And in fact, when we look at the French Revolution today, unfortunately, many Protestants were advocates for the killing of various Catholics. They saw this as sort of revenge potentially for the 30 Years' War, but also their belief that the Pope was the Antichrist and that Catholic Church authority was something that needed to be undermined and destroyed in France. And so you can't help but notice that Protestantism, especially in the Western world, one, it's failed. There is no Protestant nation that is still majority Christian. I mean, historically, it was Northern Europe, and Northern Europe is the most secular atheist places in the world. And then when you look in America, America was generally considered the most Christian of the Protestant nations. But it's kind of hard to say that we're still a Christian nation, especially given the things that people celebrate coming out of Hollywood. And for example, I just found out that there was a Methodist minister or pastor in the U.S. who does his services in drag. And so that's going to definitely connect with our website conversation on the Paris Olympics opening ceremony and the sort of carnival and bacchanalia mixture of opposites. Again, we've talked about Baphomet, and I'm going to be bringing Baphomet up over on the website. This blending of opposites, this henosis, the Neoplatonic understanding of pure unity, the bringing of opposites to create a sort of unified structure, that we can see that this is the way in which Satan is operating. And so are there good Christians that are evangelicals and Protestants? Absolutely. And they're limited in maybe their understanding of church history, their historical context, whatever it may be, their geography. And so they're a Protestant to some degree. And obviously we're not endorsing Protestantism. It's a failed experiment, as we see that it constantly concedes morality and concedes aspects of culture. And yeah, it is more mechanistic. It is more rationalistic. I would argue that Protestantism is an ideology more so than a sacramental theology, because sacraments are just symbolic within the Protestant faith. Now you have high church aspects, Lutheranism and stuff like that within Anglicanism, but look at the Anglican Church. Look at the high Lutheran churches. They have lesbian pastors now. And so they can't really conserve anything because they don't have a true tradition. And so when you're talking about Orthodoxy seems to be more in harmonious alignment with nature and creation, I would say that's because it's the tradition of the apostles. It's the tradition of saints and witnesses. And Protestantism just doesn't have that. And Protestantism from its get-go was part of the sort of revolutionary spirit, I would argue. Now, did they have accurate criticisms of the Catholic churches and the selling of indulgences and all this stuff? Absolutely. But then that revolutionary spirit of divorcing itself from apostolic succession and creating new interpretations and hermeneutics and theological understandings of Scripture, I mean, this is a revolutionary spirit. And so you can't help but notice that communism, socialism, Nazism, whatever ism that you want to apply to it, I think these are, in a way, sort of outgrowths of the collapsing of Protestant faith. So that's my general take. Maybe you guys have a different opinion. That's fine. But I want to thank Storm the Cat for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate that, my man.